Hello, everyone. How's it going? I am Jeff, and this is CGM Extra, and I am here with my friend Ben. And today's episode will be another Fate Stay Night one I did a couple of months ago that I never followed up on. And today's episode will be about who are Rin Tohsaka and Archer, or who are Archer and Rin from Fate Stay Night.
I think we were thinking about talking about Lancer, and then I revealed that I thought Archer was Lancer, and I got them mixed up.
Yes, you did, and it's interesting that you mixed up a dude who has white hair, red, and has a red trench coat thing going on, confusing him with the blue aquamarine Lancer, Ukuklan, or whatever
Mhm.
his name is. Interestingly enough, those two do not get along. They apparently it's been said throughout the series, well, at least offhandedly, and by other personalities, they do not really get along well. They have a kind of an intense rivalry. But in those action games of the Fate series called Fate Extelia, they work in the same party, and even though they say that I can't deal with him or whatever, they actually kind of have good teammates in a way. So it's one of those things that Archer and Lancer are like begrudgingly okay with each other in a weird way. That's how I see it, because I guess I want some of these characters to really get along as best they can, but also not dismissing said what Arthur has said or the creators and everything.
I mean, have I just said, oh, they don't like each other, and then when they write them, they don't actually bite the bullet on that one, and they're just trust us, they don't like each other. I don't know, they seem pretty friendly.
Well, that's more well. If we're talking about if we're talking about in the Fates Day Night timeline, they don't get along because they have different views and everything, and they're just dismissive of each other. And the game, same thing, but it's like a little bit more added detail because they're not constricted by anime story.
All right.
Yeah. So that's gonna be it. Our last video was about who is Saber, Artoria Pendragon, and I think I did an okay job of trying to explain everything to her, everything about Artoria to Ben, and yeah. The thing about Saber is she still corresponds in the Fate Stay Night series because she is the mascot slash main character, popular character. Other characters are also popular as well. So I think Saber is the most well known one because it's all about her at the beginning of the series, more or less. And what else? Oh, Saber does play a role in the second arc of the Fate Stay Night series of Unlimited Blade Works. Everything still goes as it should be, with some minor differences in this timeline or this next adaptation. Is that one, uh, Shiro uses Command Seal on Saber to not hurt Rin. That's the one factor, which means that Archer is not injured by Saber at their first meeting, compared to Fate Stay Night, where Saber immediately beeline towards Rin. Rin tried to defend herself, and Archer took the blow, which 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 composed him, which pretty much led to him not being able to participate in any of the other battles with Berserker and all that shit. So
Hmm. So is it just a different version of the same story?
correct. It's a different point of view, more or less, but and a different take on the story. Yes, because It's Day Night is divided into three stories that correspond one story, and ultimately how it's resolved. Each story takes one part of the whole Grail story and incorporates it for who is the main character, and you learn more information throughout three of the arcs. You get a big overall story, how the Fifth Grail
Yeah.
War will end.
All right.
Yes, because in the Fate arc, was strictly the Fate arc, it's all about the ideals of Shiro EMIYA and him pushing it to the limit, along with thinking of Saber as nothing more than just a pretty girl and everything, and kind of disrespecting her because she's a girl and not just a servant. And Saber's whole thing about being unworthy of protecting her kingdom when it fell in Kamlan, and coming to terms that even though things fall, I did the best I could and all that shit. And Shiro, I do love you, and he loved her, even though they are destined to be apart now. And she returns back to her own timeline, her own body, about to die, and she goes to Avalon. So
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. For this story, it's all about Rin and Archer, and and what the fuck is up with Archer hating Shiro so much, and why is he always trying to kill him? And it's very interesting.
Hmm.
So one in our main actually, it's interesting enough that the story really begins with Rin, who's the introductory character before Shiro, and she is trying to summon she is trying to summon a servant for the Fifth Grail War because she hasn't done so yet. She's waiting for a specific time to do everything. So she's got like a tome or whatever, because her family lineage is of the Tohsaka lineage. They are one of the three major families in Fuyuki City. And her lineage goes back a long ways because her family member was part of the whole creating the Grail system and etc. 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 Next to oh fuck, what was it? Next to the mottos and the what's her name? Ilya. Fuck. I having a brain fart. Ilya. Fuck me in the ass. Jesus Christ. Sweet Nicks. On Einsburn. Their family line began the Grail Wars, but like everything, that was like 1,000 years ago, and even though they know the history that their families are linked more or less, it's up to the viewer to try to figure certain things out and connect the dots and everything. But they are still rivals at the end of the day. Anyway, Ran is trying to summon Saber, the most strongest servant out there, because why not? Ran is awesome. Okay, Rin Tohsaka is a 16-year-old girl, and her deal is she's like upper crest girl who's like the perfect student more or less to the outside world. Gets good grades. And she's standoffish because of her personality, and she says that she has this personality because she doesn't want anyone to ever like know what goes on in her personal life and everything. Like she has to keep the two separate because she is a student, but she's also a mage, and she takes that really seriously. And if she were to like start acting up or whatever, people would start asking questions and try to dive deep into her business, which is complicated enough when the fact that the whole magic thing is supposed to be kept secret from the outside world. Only like a very few people. Magic is known only to like characters who are in the know, and like the general populace is like ignorant because they do all the whole science technology shit, right?
All right.
So it's pretty much that deal. Magic is secret, and it's been stated throughout the series of everything that magic needs to be not shown in public because it would be like a whole thing, and politics we get into a lot, and even though we got like clock tower and all them and all that other shady business that they do to make sure to keep the world order, to make sure magic is never revealed because it's too much of a headache. It's that kind of thing.
All right.
So Rin, being a kind of tsundere character, she is known of the school that she is popular and well liked more or less, but she always has a sad look when it comes to seeing Sakura or whenever she bumps into her, and that she doesn't really know Shiro like that when they bump into each other. And she's like kind of like, oh whatever and everything, and Shiro just says, I didn't know you came to school early today. I didn't know you come to school early. She just gives him a glance and like just ignores it and shit, and it's kind of a big thing. So pretty much, she's trying to summon Saber, and she's got to wait for the right things to align for the magic to work to summon it. She's already got the tomb and everything, and she's about to like go for it. But the thing about it is, she botches the spell. That's the thing. She's a great mage, but she botches spells, because she's kind of got bad luck when it regards to the whole money factor, and the fact that she's also kind of inexperienced with certain things. because apparently her father placed like a trick on what she was trying to open or whatever, like a little like a case that opens to say that she can try to summon something, and apparently the clocks in her entire house got pushed an hour forward, when in reality, so pretty much that's how she botched the spell, because she didn't account for the fact that she didn't return all the clocks back to its original time. So,
Daylight savings.
huh?
Daylight savings.
Something like that, yeah. Well, not daylight savings, but it's just that all the clocks were pushed forward when she opened the case and everything, and that's why she arrived to school earlier than expected, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So when she tries to summon Saber, it wasn't exactly the exact time. It was an hour earlier because that was the case. And she said, "I can't believe I messed up again." And so she does the summoning and summons someone, but she's just amazed that it's not Saber but an archer. An archer who has an attitude, as we see him like he crashed into a couch or something, and he just has this look of like, it seems I have the little mysterious little master. He's very condescending to her. And so that's the first meeting between Archer and Win. And it's not the best at first because he's condescending, doesn't think she can do anything. And he says, I guess I'll win you the grail anyway. So why don't you stay home and be like, make cookies or whatever? And she's like, I cannot believe you're showing me this kind of disrespect. I am your master. You are going to do as I say. And she actually uses a command seal, which is, again, something for masters to use on their servant if they are like showing insubordination / to give them a boost in accessing certain magics that they can never normally do. They get 3, and she's gonna use 1. Archer is aghast and shocked, that she's gonna do that, and she just says, "Shut up! I'm gonna show you I'm your master, no matter what it takes. You will do exactly as I say." Uses uses one part of the spell and of obedience, and it doesn't really work because afterwards he just says absolute obedience is not really, you cannot absolutely have a complete obedience with your servant. It doesn't work that way. So she botched up again. But he did say he has some kind of a compulsion to do as she says, though, which showcases to him that Win is an extraordinary mage due to her lineage and her capabilities as a master and a mage. And so he is more than willing to work with Win and help her get the Grail in the Fifth Grail War. And they establish a great dynamic, actually. And he showcases his abilities of what he can do, and not to underestimate the archer class. And I'll show you what I can do, which goes into the whole Lancer killing Archer. I'm sorry, Lancer killing Shiro at school because Archer and Lancer were fighting at the school at night. Shiro stupidly was there because reasons, and he saw the fight. And the rule is no one can be seen fighting later. No magic or mage or servant should never be seen in the light of day by anyone, or they will have to force to kill the person. Lancer takes this to heart, kills Shiro by stabbing him in the heart with his gay bulge, and yeah, Rin, devastated, finds out that it's Shiro, and she's just, why? Why is it you? Everyone but you. And so she uses all the magic she has, and all the magic she had, using a single red ruby that she used to summon Archer, remaining magic to restore Shiro's botched heart, pretty much. And she just leaves and everything with the root, and she leaves the gem there. Shiro wakes up. He wonders how he survived even after being impaled, and grabs said stone, which is important later. So then, after that, Rin's at home, and then she notices that something's wrong. That somehow notices that something's wrong, and that they have to go check on Shiro. And they go to the EMIYA residence where Shiro has miraculously summoned Saber. She fends off Lancer. He escapes. Then she goes to attack Archer because Rin's there. because she's a master and servant, and Saber knows the rules. Shiro doesn't. And as I said earlier, before Archer is able to get hurt, Shiro uses one of his own command seals to stop Saber's first attack, and he has two now. So Shiro has two, Rin has two. In the first series or whatever, however you want to call it, Shiro was able to maintain keeping all three of his command seals and use it sporadically throughout that first story. This story, he kind of goes through them kind of quickly, sadly. Not all of them, but he's able to use two rather quickly. So he saved Archer from Saber's assault. And so Rin, Saber, and Archer talk to Shiro about the Grail War and everything, and Rin's just aghast at Saber, but summoned by a novice like him, and that she said that if she were my servant, I could be able to heal her and get everything other shit worked up, but she's still in your hand. You're an idiot. How can a third rate mage summon her? I just don't get it. And it goes on and on and on. And Shiro's pretty much like saying, he's kind of like this. What do you want me to do? And everything. And then they go to the fucking church where they explain the rules with that corrupt priest and everything, and it goes as it should. Where Shiro decides he's gonna do the Fifth Grail War, and even though he's buddy with Rin right now, she's saying you can't be buddy with me. We're enemies. I'm a rival unit, and he just says, yeah, okay, whatever. He's not taking it seriously because it's Rin. That becomes a factor later. So in this story, Archer is with Saber dealing with EMIYA. And if you don't know who EMIYA Einsburn is, she is the daughter of Shiro's adopted father, Hiritsugu EMIYA, and the one that became the Fourth Grail in that war. In the Fourth Grail War is Irina's daughter, EMIYA. Ilya was raised in Germany as the next and last heir to the Einsburn lineage and magics, and it's kind of tragic it's kind of tragic what you find out throughout the series of Limited Blade Works, which I won't say right now. But she has a every right to be very vindictive and cruel to Rin and Shiro, especially because that's her younger or older brother or whatever. Before I go on, any questions or anything that I need to go into explanation about?
Yeah, from the first video when you were talking about this, I assumed the Guerrero War happened in its own pocket dimension. Is it just, are there just random mages and historical figures fighting around Tokyo?
Say that again. Say that again.
From the first video when we were talking, I assumed that the Grail Wars happened in their own pocket dimension. But now it sounds like there are just random magic users and historical figures fighting around Tokyo.
Yes. It's not in the pocket dimension. They are actually fighting in Fuyuki City, Japan. Yes.
If they have a rule they have to kill any witnesses, that's probably a lot of people.
Well, that's why. That's why they're kind of very careful to make sure it's in a secluded place or whatever in the city or place.
I feel like it's a very densely populated area.
You would think, but I think they somehow find a way to maneuver around things like, say, like for instance, Caster's able to. Well, I don't know explanation about it, but I think they're able to kind of nudge their way and avoid certain aspects of that rule.
I was definitely imagining like some sort of fantasy plains area with a bunch of plateaus and cliff sides overlooking water and valleys when you were first describing this to me, and none of those are right.
Yeah, it's actually taking place in a city right now. There's like kind of a lot. There is some collateral damage at points, depending.
Well, shit.
I mean, the school. I think at one point the school will get destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a big thing. But anyway, so pretty much Ilya is trying to deal with Rin and Archer, and Rin is like trying to protect Shiro from himself because he thinks he can do something he really can. And she says, "You need to escape from here. I'll take care of this with Archer, and you let your saber fight. But you need to escape because you are totally in the way." And Shiro's just stubborn. He tries to run away, stops, sees that Saber's giving everything she's got, and goes back. And then she says, "You idiot! What do you think you're doing?" And it could either be Rin or Saber who said this. I don't know. But pretty much it goes as offhand, and Archer's able to fend off Ilya with his extraordinary abilities of using an arrow to stop any of her familiars and everything from killing Rin at the last moment. And then he sees an opportunity where Shiro is trying to like get up to Saber and everything, and he just has a smirk on his face, and he's gonna use like an arrow to try to kill Shiro in his attack against Berserker. Berserker is Ilya's servant, and his real name is Heracles. Hercules to us known. Apparently, his real name is Heracles. Who would have thought?
Most history students who get mad by that kind of thing.
Apparently, I could have been calling him Hercules due to Hercules' legend with Hercules, and apparently it's pronounced Heracles, not Hercules. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever. For the sake of this much, we're calling him Hercules.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, so pretty much, Archer. Well, this is the first instance where we're getting more info. We're getting a little bit info on Archer because he says like this little chant briefly before. I guess somehow Shiro is able to sense the intent of Archer. So so the battle is kind of interrupted with Shiro and Hercules and Saber, and Shiro kind of feels something about to happen. He grabs Saber and just says, "We gotta get out of here now!" And he just hauls ass as Archer releases his arrow and snipes the area where Shiro is. And then after a big explosion, Shiro, Saber, and Rin are able to survive it, and Archer just has like this just snaps his fingers and like this. So that's his first instance of trying to kill Shiro. So pretty much,
Competition.
yes. So it's like so pretty much just kind of goes throughout this entire arc of Archer trying to kill Shiro, them having some kind of bad vibes with each other. Rin has to reprimand Archer. Saber's just there, so aiding Shiro, being a servant, and it kind of goes on and on and on. But then there's like key differences, like Shiro Archer does protect Shiro when somehow or another Caster is able to get her hands into Shiro and is about to sacrifice him for something, and Archer has to save Shiro. Archer's just so fucking like over it. Like, I have to save an idiot like you. Who are you calling an idiot? Only an idiot will call an idiot someone an idiot, and everything. And it's like this back and forth. They're like others and everything. And Caster makes note like, you two are oddly similar. I'm not the same as him. That's a weird thing that goes on with those two. And also Shiro also unlocks you and Shiro actually unlocks utilizing projection in this more projection a little bit more earlier compared to the Fate arc, where he is utilizing it to protect Rin and Saber at points because reasons. And it's pretty interesting to say, but he doesn't really utilize Avalon because throughout this entire thing, he doesn't really know that he has Avalon embedded in him. I don't think. I could have been mistaken. It's been a minute since I watched that series, and I guess the purists will get on my ass. Will say like, "Well, you should read the visual novel." Like, I know it's very hard to get your hands on a visual novel nowadays, and I have Wikipedia. I've read the wiki. I read the wiki, so I kind of got the gist. But pretty much, so Shiro is fascinated with Archer's weapons, Concho, Byakuya, and Kanto, whatever. Those two swords he utilizes. They have a name. It's cool as fuck. And whenever like Shiro is being trained by Saber and like to defend himself, he's actually starting to incorporate somehow using those two weapons and be in a similar style to Archer. Saber sees this and says, "Oh, I guess you don't want to be learning the art of swordsmanship like your kendo and everything." She's kind of dismissive of it, but she gets over it. So that's pretty much the key differences. Any questions?
No.
Okay, good. So pretty much throughout this course of the series, where Shiro, Rin, and Saber deal with like Castor invading the school, which incorporates them finding out that Shinji Mato, Sakura's brother, is causing mischief with Ryder and has a blood fort to kill all the students by sucking up their energy. They stop it, but a difference happens this time around is that Ryder is actually killed this time around. But we don't know who killed her. All we see is Ryder's snapped head going back and forth. It's it's very gross and disturbing. So someone killed Ryder. It's totally owned in this story, so she's not relevant. Shinji runs away, and he becomes an annoyance later. Sadly, well, not even sadly, just an annoyance. So he'll come back later, and Rin reprimand Archer saying, "Why weren't you there? I couldn't hear you." He gives like a snot. He comes kind of like a roundabout answer. So it's like, some pieces are falling into place because Rin's been having like weird dreams lately of Archer's past or whatever, and how he has like just a very interesting and yet disturbing past of what he was doing and everything, and all she can say is that how stupid. She's having weird connections that if Archer and Shiro are somehow connected. It's not really. She doesn't. She kind of gets it. She doesn't say anything until a key point when Archer betrays her, because later, due to reasons, Shiro has to give up Saber because Fujimiya is captured by Castor, and he has to give up Saber, and he doesn't want to lose Fujimiya, so he actually has Castor break his bond with Saber, and now Castor has Saber as her servant because Castor broke the rules, and Archer saves Shiro in the end and Fujimiya, and he's brought back to Ben's house, and then I think how it goes is that Archer starts questioning Win now, that's saying like he's no longer a master if he's lost all of his command seals. So what are you gonna do now, Win? I'm gonna do what I have to. And then in a cool moment, I think it's cool and how they end the first part of the series, as Shiro confronts Rin and Archer on a building at night, and he just says, trying to convince, I can help you defeat. I can help you. I can get back Saber. You can't do anything. You're no longer a master. You cannot fight no more. You can't do anything. I will deal with this myself. You need to, go home like a good little boy or whatever. And then as they're falling, she says something that is unknown to the viewer, and only Shiro hears it, and it pisses him off beyond delay and everything. And they head off to like go after Castor. And pretty much it goes as follows: Archer goes up against Castor, and he has a specific reason in mind why he's going up against her. He's telling Rin not to go against her because she's a powerful mage, she's a powerful mage of magic. Even though even though you're good, the way that magic works in the past is far superior to the shit you got going on now. You're not gonna win. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win, Archer. I got this. Archer portrays Rin in the middle of her fight against Castor as he's going up against Castor's master and lover. And Rin is just totally shocked by this. Like, what are you doing, Archer? I'm being on the side that wins. And then he has Castor use Rule Breaker on him to break his bond with Rin, and she's like totally stunned. Like, what the fuck?
Does
You're
sound like
betraying me?
Archer's kind of like a psycho killer.
Yes, like, oh my god, you're betraying me? I did not see this coming. Oh my god! Or something. It's kind of been in the stars, Rin, really. The way he's been rebelling against you. Yeah. So before anything can happen, Shiro miraculously appears and is because he followed them and he protects Win and they get the fuck out of Dodge and then they have a little nice moment together and showcasing their kind of romantic bond and then they kind of oh god there's this roundabout way of trying to get protection because both their servants are under Cass's control or whatever. The only master they can go to is Ilya. And of course, she's back. And the thing about it is, they try to go to her building, and something occurs as unexpected. Uh, there is a fucking massacre there, thanks to the eighth servant who should not be there, Gilgamesh, the king of all heroes in the world, etc., etc. And apparently he has gone up against Hercules, and it's a bloody battle. And this is where you find out more about Ilya's backstory and how she got Hercules in the first place. And it's kind of sad how she dies because or after he's able to defeat Hercules, and Hercules was actually almost able to kill or beat Archer or Gilgamesh. It doesn't. It kind of doesn't work. So at the last moment, Gilgamesh slices Ilya's eyes so she can't see, and she's just saying something, and she's just begging for Hercules to come back to her. I know you're there. And she touches a stone which she thinks is Hercules' body or hand, and sadly, it's just a rock she's holding in the end, saying, whispering, "It's gonna be okay, we'll be okay," or whatever. And Ilya's last moments in this world is her saying that, and Gilgamesh impaling Ilya's body to get to her heart. And if you don't remember the reason why, she is an artificial creation. Well, not really an artificial creation. Ugh, she is the what was it? The core of the Grail because she's the strongest homunculus out there due to her lineage of being born from a homunculus and a human. And she is the core of the Grail because as the Grail Wars go on and as each servant is destroyed, their spirit or energy, whatever you want to call it, goes into Ilya and it slows down her body. And so Gilgamesh takes her heart because it's needed. Her body isn't, so she's dead. This drives Shiro completely insane. He tries to attack them, and it doesn't work. But then again, Gilgamesh is in it for himself. He couldn't care less. And somehow Shinji's there saying that I'm the new master of Gilgamesh, which is not true. And he fucks off and everything because he gets scared or whatever. And so they get help from Ku Lancer, who just says, "I'm just here just to be on a lookout for something, but I can help you two out." And it's revealed to them that Shiro just says, one thing I want you to do before I agree to anything. I don't want you to hit on Rin." And Lancer just laughs. "Of course I'm not going to hit on Rin. Okay, I get it. She's your woman." And Rin is totally against it. Like, "What do you mean I'm your woman? What does that mean, Shiro? There's nothing between us. We're just friends." And then
Sorry for killing you earlier.
Exactly. I mean, they kind of get over that shit real quick.
Get over it.
I mean, if that's what they have to do, they need a servant, and Lance is more than willing. So it's like, okay, I gotta get over this shit. So Rin is like totally aghast that Jiro has feelings for her, and he said that, and she says, "You have to be more embarrassed by it, Jiro." And then Lanta just says knowingly, like, "You're in for a hard time. You know that, right?" "Yeah, I know." She was resigned to the fact that Rin will not change this personality of her. She's kind of a brat and everything. So I'm going to put a pause. I feel like I'm not really explaining those two characters, except I'm going into their backstory via recapping the story. How are you with that? I could just skip it and we just get to the personality details and magics and shit.
What are my options?
Hmm?
What are my options?
Oh, I'm telling this story via a recapping the series itself. I could just skip that and we just dive deep into Archer and Win shit more thoroughly. And not just all this extra shit.
guess I'm good with the continuation of the story.
You sure?
Sure.
Okay. So pretty much, they get Lancer, and then Lancer has to distract Archer and everything. So it's a badass scene where Archer is up against Lancer, and it's a totally cool thing. They both reveal the ideals of why they're fighting, and how Lancer says to Archer, you have no goal, you have no honor, you just outright betrayed your master. And he just says there's a reason for it. You don't know anything, you damn hero, you don't know anything. And then Lancer points out, are you really an archer? Are utilizing swords and all this shit that you shouldn't be able to do being part of the archer class? And Archer just says, I'm more of a jack of all trades, as it were. And pretty much pretty much as that's going on, Rin and Shiro go up to confront Caster and her master to get back Saber, and Shiro gives her and Rin decides to tell him something. That gem you gave back to me, it's only one of a kind. There's only one of a kind, and I got this back from you, or I got this one back from you. I assumed it was Archer who gave it back to me, but so pretty much she's saying she has like two now, which is kind of like off, and then Shiro kind of puts it together, the fact that Archer is somehow him, if he has like the artifact that summoned him in the first place.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah.
He turns into a real shithead.
Well, yeah, sadly, but you'll see why. So after another cool fight of Shiro going up against her, Caster's master, and Min going up against Caster, and Caster's like totally superior to the magic ways, even though Min gives it the best shot. And before Caster's able to like finish up or saying something, Min, well, she pretty much kicks Caster's ass by utilizing martial arts skills that is not supposed to be part of a magic battle. Caster is totally against this and saying, you savage! How dare you say you practice magic if you're going to fight me? And then she says, the art of being a mage nowadays is you have to learn physical defense. And he pretty much kicks her ass. It's pretty cool to see, actually.
I cast fists.
Pretty much. She's actually doing apparently Min practices the art of Taekwondo, I believe. And she learned that from that corrupt priest that killed her father and shit. That's a thing. So yeah, pretty much nowadays mages have to know some kind of defense or whatever she calls it, or because her teacher taught her. You can't always rely on
either
magic.
that or buy a gun.
Yeah, you gotta sometimes learn how to be self-defense if you can't utilize your magic. And pretty much before Rin is able to finish off Caster, Caster's master Soichiro like knocks Shiro on his ass and stops Rin's assault, and he just says, those were good attacks, but you really should have ended her on the first blow. So you still have a lot to learn." Knocks her on her ass. And he says something like, he says, "Caster, summon Saber. This is ridiculous." Okay. And before that, random sword arrows are flung against them, and pretty much Caster is killed by Archer. And just after that, and Caster declares her love to Suichiro, and she disappears. Suichiro decides to go up against Archer, even though he really doesn't have to, but he says, "I have to. There's nothing for me here. I did this of my own free will." Archer says, "Yeah, that's fine, dude." And he kills Soichiro, so he's dead. And now Saber is free, and Archer killed them, and Min says out of nowhere, "I had a feeling that your whole betrayal thing was nothing more than a ruse, because you wanted something out of it." And then he says, "Yeah, it was." And then he traps Rin in a circle of swords, saying, "I don't want you to get involved in this." And he just says, "Now I get to kill the boy." And it becomes like this battle royale. Archer once again
gets to kill himself.
Yes, because he says, "I'm gonna kill."
I'm guessing 10 miles away that this is like a time loop, and in his timeline, Rin dies.
You're actually almost kind of close, yeah.
And so he's trying to save Rin. I don't think he should blame himself enough to kill himself, but this guy seems pretty fucked.
Well, pretty much. As she was trying to fight Archer, and Archer just says, "Look, dude, you can't. What do you mean I can't beat you?"
I am you.
Well, they don't say that right now, but yeah, it's like kind of one of those things. And then Rin has an idea, and she actually forms a contract with Saber now because she's a free servant, and and now Rin gets what she wants by having Saber as her having Saber as her servant, and Saber ends off Archer's assault against she defends Shiro's assault. She defends Shiro from Archer's assault. Not before Archer showcases his reality marble. Showcases his noble phantasm being a reality marble called Unlimited Blade Works, and it has Unlimited Blade Works is a noble phantasm, is a reality marble which forces encroaches our reality into encroaches his mind into reality, and he can do whatever the fuck he wants. And there's like in his world, there is a bunch of the swords and weapons he has utilized in his time as a human at one point or another, and that is the reason why he kind of uses swords and shit and a bow more or less, and that's why he has all those swords and shit because they're replicas. Because he can use projection magic as well. And so Saber's able to fend off Archer, and then somehow Archer has it in his head to kidnap Wynn because he can't have her interfering in this shit anymore. And he just says, if you want the girl back, you need to come save her, Shiro. And Wynn is totally against the wall, saying, "How dare you, you brute! Why are you doing this to me? Shut up, Wynn! I gotta do this. Shut up!" And he knocks her out and everything. And I'm thinking, God damn, Archer really puts Wynn through the ringer in this shit. It's kind of funny, but whatever. So pretty much, Shiro, Saber, and Lancer, because now he knows what's going on, tries to go save Rin, and then at the church, it is revealed ultimately what's going on. So as Lancer is going to go save Rin, Shiro confronts Archer with Saber looking on, because even though she is no longer his servant, sees being Shiro she still sees Shiro as being her master in a way, even though Win's her master. It's a thing. She's pretty much having it both ways, and it's fun. It's Saber, whatever. So Saber's going to witness the fight against Shiro and Archer, and it's revealed why Archer despises Shiro so much, because, again, spoiler alert, Archer is a future Shiro. And how this came to be is because Archer, after the Grail War ended and everything, he decided to make a pact with the world itself to become a counter guardian, to try to protect people as best he can as a counter guardian. But this ideal worked against him because he was nothing more than a janitor cleaning up humanity's messes. A counter guardian or a counter force is a thing that happens is when the world summons someone like Archer to take care of things, take care of any things that is take care of humanity's sins or whatever if it becomes too much. Keep the balance in the world, as it were. And Archer kept appearing in random war fields and shit. And at one point, he actually was sacrificed as a war hero. And that's where part of his chant comes from, like, I am the bone of my sword, and that fact that he has survived over a million blades being impaled in his body at one point in his life or whatever. And, but pretty much Archer has in his head that I made a mistake by becoming a counter guardian. After everything I've been through, I thought this would lead me to protect becoming like Kiritsugu EMIYA, my dad. My ideals betrayed me, and I'm just done with this shit. So even if the possibility is low, I'm still be a counter guardian, but I'm also going to just put myself out there to be a servant and somehow wait. And he did wait. He eventually does get summoned by Rin because it is inevitable, because the gem that resurrected him that one night becomes the catalyst for Rin to always summon Shiro as Archer in the Grail War in this timeline. And the thing about in Shiro's timeline, and EMIYA, I should say, in EMIYA or Archer's timeline, he did not want. He did win the Fifth Grail War, and Rin survived. But the thing is, he didn't protect Saber's heart. He says, whatever that means, it's anyone's guess, but it's pretty much obvious that he couldn't protect Saber's heart. Even though they won, he did not protect her heart in the end. So who knows? And
so is he coming back here to save? Did he go back in time to save Saber, or did he go back in time to kill himself, so he wouldn't have to be counterforce?
latter.
I made a terrible decision that I can't unmake, so I'm just gonna go back in time and kill myself.
Yes, that is what he's trying. That is what he's trying to do. Saber tries to talk him out of it. Rin tries to talk him out of it. And that doesn't make sense. You'll kill you. That doesn't mean that you're already your own individual. That doesn't mean you're gonna kill him. Even if you do, won't even stop because your future and past have already come to be. You're your own individual. I don't care if it's a possibility is low. I'm gonna do it.
I need out.
Yes, yes. So it goes as follows: that Archer and Shiro go up against each other in this cool clash of swords and everything. And here's an interesting fact about Archer and Shiro: the fact that they are able to be akin more to have a kinship with swords and blades is due to the fact of Avalon being embedded to them as a kid. The reason Shiro has no aptitude for any of the elements, even before he became a mage itself, is due to the influence of Avalon. So, he was inevitably never going to be mastering any magic except for projection and a little bit of reinforcement. So, again, Shiro's capabilities as a mage grows throughout the series. He gets stronger. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that he will be a top tier mage like Rin, for instance.
Yeah.
So Archer and Shiro go back and forth and everything against one another, and Shiro actually is able to beat Archer because Archer lets his guard down, and even though Shiro is seeing what has come to be for Archer, doesn't necessarily mean that will be his future. I will hold on to these ideals even if they are plagiarized by my own father. But even if it's a borrowed dream, it's still my dream, and I'm going to go through with it. So it's a little bit different from the first iteration of the whole following the ideals to the fullest. I will be a hero of justice. And this time around, him thinking about the fact about what it means to be a hero of justice and going along with it, even though it's a borrowed dream from Kiritsugu, it's still a dream he still wants to accomplish and try to find some happiness for himself or whatever.
Yeah.
So Archer and Shiro's whole duel to the death comes to an end. Pause. Now Rin's dealing with the fact that she's figuring out what Shinji is going to do to her in the basement. He's a little lech and almost a rapist at this point because he's saying, "I can get you out of those bonds, Tohsaka, if you just be my girlfriend." And Rin is just like saying, "Dude, you don't get it. It's not about you. This is beyond anything what you're capable of. You need to get the fuck out of Dodge and everything." And he slaps her, kicks her, saying, "What the fuck, you bitch? I can do whatever I want. I'm the one who's gonna win the Grail War. Me, and everything." And just before he's able to touch her, Lancer comes to Rin's rescue by punching Shinji and tossing him around like a rag doll and getting the little fucker out of there by stabbing him slightly on the arm, which causes him to cry, and he just runs off like a bitch. And Lancer frees Rin for somehow his own spear pierces through his chest, shockingly. And he collapses. And now we see that damn priest's name? What's that damn priest's name? Fuck. I am bad with these names. I really should have made notes. Any other questions?
Why did he get hit with his own weapon?
I am not to tell you. I just gotta figure out that damn name. EMIYA. Hirei Kotomine. Reason why Lancer stabbed himself is because Kirei Kotomine used a command seal or spell on Lancer to impale himself.
Hmm.
Kirei has two servants, Lancer and Gilgamesh, at this point, which is illegal. There's a reason behind it, but that's revealed in Fate Zero or whatever. So, Kirei reveals to Rin that he was the one to kill her father at the end of Fate Zero. He's totally against it, like saying, "How you fucking bastard! A priest like you doesn't deserve the title of priest. You deserve to be put in hell or whatever," and whatever she said to him and everything, because she's just so because her own student killed his own. Because it's a big thing because she didn't know how her father died. She just know he died. She didn't know it was what at the hands of Kirei Kotomine, and so he pretty much meets his maker by Lancer being totally metal. He's able to survive his own impalement and stab Kirei Kotomine in the heart and kills him. And then he just says to Rin, "You need to get out of here." As he uses a rune, set fire to the church and just says something along the line. And then Rin says, you would have made me a great servant." And he just says, "Little lady, I'll take it, but you're a little bit too young for me. Why don't you grow up and come to me when you're a little bit older?" Because he has a thing for old
Same guy
ladies.
who chained himself to a rock and killed an army as he was dying. I'm gonna be honest. The only person who's like legend that I know that well is Kukulane, and I'm biased. So the fact that he's like a joke character is something that I am like annoyed.
And it's so fucking. We will talk about Lancer. It's gonna be fun because I won't be going to any scenarios. We're just talking about Lancer full time because oh man, it sucks that this is the second time he came to the protagonist's aid, yet winds up getting 86. Because
I mean, he winds up getting 86 to lie.
it sucks. He's the fucking Kenny of the Fate universe. It sucks ass.
Yeah, but he's the Kenny who goes down taking everyone with him.
Yeah, that's why I called it metal. He's got a metal mind. So as the place is burning down to the ground and everything and shit, Van goes back upstairs and sees that Archer has conceded to Shiro being a good fighter and everything, and then she sees it, and then she sees Gilgamesh try to kill Shiro and Archer. Archer takes the blow for Shiro, and he winds up dead. And Ren's like fucking enraged, like, "How dare you do that to my Archer!" And she tries to fire like her own spell against him, and it doesn't work. And Gilgamesh declares that, "Well, I'm going to become king of this forsaken world by burning everything down. I'm going to use the heart I got from that little girl, and then I'm going to find someone to be its host, and I'm going to set this whole shit aflame. So you got a couple of hours, so spend it usefully, hey?" And he just disappears into the ether. Saber, Rin, and Shiro are back together, get back at home, and they have a nice little dinner to discuss their plans to stop Gilgamesh's plan. And it's revealed that the only way to beat it is for Shiro go up against a servant, Gilgamesh. Saber calls bullshit, like, "But you're a human. How can you do it?" "I think I can do it." Archer says, "I'm the only one that can, due to my projection." "Are you saying I can't do it, Shiro?" "No, I'm not saying that." He's saying that. Ren's able to calm everyone down and everything, and they have a plan. So, but in order for Shiro to match up to the capabilities of Gilgamesh and even survive, he has to utilize the fullest part of projection he can. The thing is, Shiro's ability of using projection, even though it's got strengthened his battle with Archer, his mana reserves are kind of little to make a actual noble phantasm. Or a reality marble, I should say, because noble phantasms are only for servants. This is like a reality marble for Shiro, being a mage. So Rin says that I'm gonna give you something. I'm gonna give you access to my family crest. And that family crest is important to any mage because it's everything incorporated throughout the entire lineage as a mage, adding on to a millennia's worth of mana. It's like a crest, like a tattoo that's embedded on the on the person itself, and she is going to give it to him to utilize. A copy of it or something because she still has access to it or something. I think that's a thing. And then Shiro sees Rin's past through their mind connection and is able to see that Rin kind of fell for Shiro in middle school when he wouldn't give up on doing a high vault or whatever. And then they wake up. And then he says, that's funny. That's funny. Why would you fall for an idiot like that who wouldn't give up on a stupid track and field thing? And then Rin is totally tsundere mode and she says, you idiot! Why would you go look through my memories? What? And then she just slaps him. And then she just says that one day I'm gonna find out your deepest darkest secret, and I'm gonna make you pay for this. Before I continue, Rin and during this scene apparently, Rin and Shiro were supposed to have sex. Fate Stay Night is more or less a vlog game too with sex scenes. And one of the three females is supposed to have sex with Shiro or whatever. So in this one, Rin and Shiro are the couple that get together and they have sex in this scene. Just as Shiro and Saber had sex in the last story. That's a thing. So pretty much, they get their preparations together.
I kind of made like a dumb joke about it, and then you're like, what? And I'm like, oh, cool, we're not bringing this up. But now we are bringing it up.
Yes. So pretty much, from all intents and purposes, they get their feelings out and everything, including Saber. She's just happy for Shiro and Rin, and she wants them to be happy, no matter what happens.
Sounds like she was like third wheeled by the plot itself. This around. Like not even like in a relationship status. Like yeah, but also in like how like she randomly becomes Castor's thing, and Castor never actually uses her, and then she just sort of disappears for half the plot, and then she comes back, and it's like, well, you can't be the final boss. It's like, why can't I be the final boss? It's like protagonist has to do it. It's like, okay, fine.
I know for Saber. So yeah. Sucks. The Saber fans are not eating. It's all about Shiro, Archer, and Min. Sadly, no, not sadly. It's cool. Anyway, so they get to the stupid thing. Saber has to go up against the last remaining servant, who is assassin. Then they run off to deal with. And then Shiro deals with Gilgamesh because Gilgamesh has declared himself king of the world after the world burns by releasing the curse of the Grail because it was unpurified sometime in the past, and he's going to just burn everything to the ground. Ren is going to go up against him, saying, no, that's not going to happen. I'll find the core. I'm going to find the core and get him out of there. You know, he's annoying. I got to save him. He's still Sakura's brother. So, yeah. Shinji is actually is the core that Gilgamesh gave the heart to. It's very funny how it happens, but it's kind of sad. Not really. I don't like Shinji.
Hey kid, what's the candy? Candy.
Exactly. And he just like sticks it in the dude's chest, and it grows out of control. And that is what the Grail has become, or at least whatever the core of the Grail. It's just a giant mess. Think of it like the Blob, encompassing like the temple and shit. It's like that shit.
Uh-huh.
So in order for Rin to get into the core, she has to go through a pool of kind of like acid or water that's been cursed. So she has to use her own magic to protect herself by ingesting a gem, and she has to save Shinji as Shiro is going up against Gilgamesh, and it kind of goes back and forth a little until Shiro busts out his reality marble and uses the same similar chant to Archer, but the words are different, corresponding their differences of opinion about the world or whatever. And Gilgamesh is like totally against this shit because that's the word of the night. Against. Forgive me. It's my key word tonight. Forgive me. And Gilgamesh and Shiro go back and forth, and somehow or another, Shiro is able to defeat Gilgamesh. Because as he put it earlier, uh, even though Gilgamesh has a lot of weapons and his noble phantasms are very powerful, he has never mastered a single one of them. He just hurls it without a care in the world, and he's never mastered a single technique or a sword or whatever. So that's pretty much the gist.
Protect powers.
Yes. So Shiro's able to break through, use like a couple of use one skill that he got from Archer, the Woe Ias, which is so fucking cool. I'll try to send a video about it to you later. And then he's able to slice off Gilgamesh's arm in a totally fun way. And Gilgamesh is like, "How dare you, dog! You dare attack me!" Or something like the utter disdain that this dog, this lower person trash, was able to imperil him. And then as everything starts winding down, Shiro's like the last man standing, and then as the Grail is as the Grail is about to get to win in a different part and everything, these sword arrow-like projectiles are thrown to protect Rin and Shinji as she goes about to get across the lake again. And she's just surprised to see that it's Archer protecting her. He just says, because when it looked like she was going to get like consumed after saving Shinji, she just says, "I'm sorry, I won't be able to get back to you, Shiro." And then Archer just telepathically says, "Good grief! Will you spare me your sorrowful speech and everything, and get your ass out of there?" And he does. While this is happening, our Saber defeats Assassin, and she can't like use Excalibur to destroy the core because Rin's there, and she's run out of energy because Shiro's like sapping up all of the crest energy that he's attached to himself or whatever. So it's a thing. So that's why Archer intervenes so she can get up with Shinji, and Saber's able to finally utilize Excalibur. Not before also say one she has to have Saber use Excalibur. She forces Saber to use Excalibur, then uses the last remaining seal on Saber to utilize all her energy to destroy the core of the Grail. Saber does. She uses Excalibur. She destroys the core of the Grail finally, and Saber dies at the end because there's no more Grail to sustain her in the world, and she disappears, but with no regrets. So you have to assume that all her problems or whatever that is pretty much got dealt with. It's kind of like a cheap because I feel like Fate Stay Night, the Fate route does it more better, but whatever. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, we're just gonna pretend that the character development that happened in the last story happened in this story, but off screen.
Yeah, or something like it sucks ass, man.
Yeah, she got bad in that story arc.
But the thing is, Saber looked like
The last story arc was completely about her and totally about her.
Yes. But she starts she goes back home with a smile though. So
that's good at least.
Yeah. And so as we're winding down with this, Rin rushes back to Archer and just saying she sees Archer with a completely different hairstyle. It's not spiky anymore. It's like kind of flat. He's smiling. Whatever. We're just kind of all put in like, oh shit, he's smiling because it's showcasing that he is Shiro again, I guess. And then she just says, "Wait, be my servant. Let's just give it another chance. Be my servant again." Nah, Rin, it's fine. I think I learned a lot from this experience of almost killing myself and going through almost all this shit and everything. And he just kind of gives parting words, and then he just says, "Watch out for me, will you?" It's a pain in the ass, but I'll make sure to do it. And she gives him a smile, and he smiles, like similarly like to Shiro, when he's smiling. So you know he has no more regrets, and he disappears into the ether too.
Nice.
In the end, after the Fifth Grail War, Rin and Shiro decide to go back. Rin decides to give up life as a normal student and takes herself and Shiro as her apprentice to London, be in Clock Tower, and be raised as a mage there or something. And during this time, and during the epilogue portion of the story, there's like a little bit of resolution behind where King Arthur was buried or something in Galsbury or whatever. I'm not sure if that's really the case because this is fiction, but whatever. And the fact that Rin has another rival for Shiro's affections named Luvia Defelt. And she is witch girl personified. It's fucking great. I love Luvia. I feel like she should have been in more in the Fate stories as of late, but unfortunately, no. I'll show you a video about Luvia. She's fucking awesome. She does fucking
So
wrestling moves.
nice.
I
So
mean,
in this version of the story, is the sheath never found and it's just still in Shiro?
yes.
Well, okay.
I know, like, damn. I mean, well, the sheath is kind of used in his fight against Archer that heals him up thanks to Saber being in the vicinity where he's able to heal himself. So yeah, there was that. Yeah, the sheath is still inside Shiro at the end. Because you would think that if he would have just given Saber back, that she would have had enough energy to do whatever she wanted. But no,
Yeah.
Saber gets totally fucked in the season and the story. Sadly.
Yep.
So it's pretty much established that Shiro's time at Clock Tower is coming to an end because he feels like he wants to do something else. Rin's fine with it. I think she might go with him. I don't know. It's kind of left up. It's kind of left up in the air. But in a future scene, we see Shiro traveling the desert in some garb and everything. He looks kind of like Archer, but much more happier. So we'll see we'll see what happens. And that's kind of more or less the Archer Rin thing story of Unlimited
All
Blade
right.
Works, more or less. Now, I guess I should kind of go into explanation a little bit at least about Rin's capabilities. She is from the family of the Tohsaka. She's very powerful, and as she grows up, she'll utilize more magics and learn things and become a great, capable fighter. And she's fucking awesome all around. Her relationship with Shiro is pretty stable. I believe the artists really see Rin as the one Shiro should choose in case nothing ever works out with Saber. Or maybe the girl that he's with even after Saber disappears from his life after Fate, and he might have hooked up with Lin, maybe. Or they might have just been friends, who knows.
Hmm.
Pretty much, Rin's future is fine, but the thing is, even though that was resolved, one thing was never resolved in Unlimited Blade, which was only hinted at, was her relationship status with Sakura.
Hmm.
And Sakura is, and actually, this goes into Heaven's Feel movies, actually. That Sakura is from the Tohsaka household, being the little sister of Rin, and the fact that it's revealed that in a mage's family, only one sibling will be able to inherit the crest and all the magics of it, while the other one is fated to fade away, as in ignored more or less, or whatever, or cause rivalry. So the Tosaka, so their father gave Sakura up to the Matos because they were not, they weren't really giving out the best supply of um, disciples, or they weren't giving out the best blood relations because their blood lineage got very weak later. So Sakura, being adopted into the Mata family, would still be killing magic, So she'll be the next heir, and this would cause Shinji a lot of strife because it went to Sakura to inherit the Mato lineage, not Shinji.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a thing. And that storyline doesn't get resolved until the story is focused on Sakura. The thing about it is, I don't really care for Sakura. I really don't. Even though I know its circumstances, I watch the circumstances. He comes across as just being bratty and just totally gaslit, I guess, in a way.
All right.
But pretty much, go-to spell Rin has is something called a Nordic curse called Grandor or something. Gondor?
Grandeur.
Yeah, it's a Noetic curse that one uses on their comes from their fingers or whatever. That's the spell Ring uses throughout the series, along with she can utilize and harness magic through gems. She converts energy into gems and throws them to utilize her spells.
All right.
Archer, as I said, he can use projection magic. And the thing about which is not really revealed in the series is because you have to read up on it. Archer's timeline, he actually becomes a kind of like a what do you call it? Like one of those jack of all trades. He's like a bounty hunter or whatever. He aids like the clock tower, and he becomes like linked to a clock tower, and he's also linked to the church, where he's able to come across a character from that series called CL, and that is how he gets that's how he gets his coat, that red coat that he wears and everything. He gets it from the church apparently.
Hmm.
It's really cool. Like all that backstory is not really revealed unless that's just not really revealed in the anime. You gotta read up on it, as I said. So pretty much, Archer's cool. He's got keen eyesight, and honestly, if him and were able to get far in the story as being the winners of the Grail War, they would have resolved the whole sealing the Grail good pretty much in no time flat, I'd say.
The real protagonist.
I mean, would you think do you think Rin and Archer are the real protagonists over Shiro and Saber?
Uh,
That's the thing.
I mean, there. I'd say no, but there are two different versions of that. There's the uh, from a perspective of they do just write Shiro as the protagonist, so like there's that. There's a second version of from writing point of view where they may not be the best protagonist because it does seem like everything would go a little bit too easily.
Mm.
Honestly, sometimes it feels like the main, like just from listening to these stories, the main, like, what's the word?
Protagonist, main character.
Conflict in a story, the main tripping point or the main obstacle in these stories does seem to be Shiro's incompetence.
Yeah.
So, like, without that, with the conflict for Archie, it does sound like they kind of clean shop.
Yes. But for me, why I fell for Rin, only because she is a tsundere. She's a cool character, I'd say, and that she really does pick up the slack and try to tell Shiro these things because Shiro is stubborn. He doesn't really get it at times. He does learn, and if you would just listen to Rin, you would be fine, I'd say. Not that she's not perfect, because she has her flaws, and she can be kind of too dismissive sometimes because she is kind of a rich girl too.
So she's like a tsundere, but instead of like, I don't know, just getting mad and doing nothing, she gets mad and still tries to help.
Yeah, pretty much. She's one of those. She's like Coco no way.
Yeah, I could see that. Coconut is pretty great.
I mean, Coco no is great, but again, she's like so like what the fuck you dumb. She would call you a well no, but never mind. Rin would also call you a dumbass. Never
Yeah.
mind. And
Yeah,
Archer is
Kukinoi is great not because she's like super smart and a jerk. She's great because she does things like she's honestly, it's funny that there's like a I guess spoilers, but it's funny that there's a subplot and maybe even a main plot in Blaze Blue. What is the last one? Central Fiction.
yeah.
Um, where like Rachel is like teetering on the brink of dying or unexisting because she's under such strain, um, being Ragna's observer. Kokonoa is like the observer for three separate fucking people.
Mhm.
And she does not struggle with it at all. And that's pretty funny. She keeps Arakune in reality. She keeps Hakumen in reality. I think she probably maybe Lambda a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, and she's like responsible for Tager and Lambda, and she makes a point to take care of them all, and that's why I like her. Because she does stuff, and the stuff seems to come from a genuine place of compassion.
Ironically, given the fact she's the daughter of Nine and Jubei.
Yeah,
I don't think she gets that compassion from Jubei. I don't think she gets that compassion from Nine,
no. I'm just thinking of some vine that I saw that I barely remember, where like shake what your mom gave you, and it's like my mother's the most selfish woman in the world. She never gave me anything.
though.
It's like okay, jeez.
Here's some fun facts about Win and Archer. Win is a good cook, more or less. She can she's even though she was raised without her parents and raised by Kotomine from a distance or whatever, she did grow up to be a good lady. She can take care of the house or whatever. She's good at organizing, but she's also actually, I should say she has bad as or I mean, she's good at maintaining the magic artifacts that's in her house or whatever. She's relatively a good cook. I'd say I give her like a B grade more or less, and she's very good with Chinese food apparently.
I mean, I feel like you kind of have to get good at cleaning, cooking, and stuff if you don't have anyone there to raise you.
Yeah, yeah. But yes. However, I think Archer is able to pass on all that because he is Shiro, and Shiro does all the maintenance and all the home cooking and cleaning. Archer is a notorious cleaner, and he can clean and cook and everything, and just leaves it to him. And so pretty much I think she's good with having Archer. And Archer begrudgingly doesn't even say anything. He doesn't mind. He likes cooking and cleaning. It's his thing. If you tell him and Shiro that they are such clean freaks like each other, they'll totally deny it and most likely will punch you. I mean, Archer can cook and clean, and because Ben, the way just Rin says, "Look, you got to get the stuff cleaned up in my house that you caused," and he just says, "Sheesh, she's such good grief. She's good grief." And he does it though. He likes cleaning, god damn it. And in that mobile game, it's revealed that like EMIYA our EMIYA takes care of all the mix is like one of the major staff that takes care of the cleaning and cooking or cooking because his food skills are top class.
Like,
Yes. and and honest and also if you're honest and if you're able to get like a servant I should say a pseudo servant like say like Ren as being like a link being like in possession of a goddess. Archie will just say I am honestly shocked that Ren wound up being the host to a goddess who was almost of similar personality to her, yet is
hmm,
able to rein in a stronger personality of a goddess in her body. I'm amazed. So yeah.
hmm.
Yeah, Archer and Win are a good team. I think their dynamic is so good. And again, if it was all about them, without the conflict and all that backstory shit of all the shit that happened, I'm thinking it would have gone down very well. And if you have to ask yourself, what would Win wish for? Nothing. She only entered this stupid Grail War as as a family thing, and also because she wanted to prove to herself she was a fantastic mage. And also, I'm also going by the fact that what I learned in the fighting game that I read up on that's on the PS2 that I have, but I can't like play it because I haven't put in the necessary component for it. God damn it. Um,
Wait, what up?
hmm?
What up?
The component for the PS2 to play Japanese games on your PS2.
Oh, right. There's that stuff.
I have it, but I never put it together. I feel bad. I want to do that though.
Wait, there's a component you can just buy?
I bought this a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had to buy a PS2 made in Japan.
I'll show you. I'll send you a picture when I find it.
All right.
Maybe you can help me. Anyway, I'm going by the fighting game ending that Ben would have most likely dealt with the Grail Warrior in a similar fashion with Archer. Would have sealed it away and be fine, and then she would find some way to make Archer her familiar. She kept him as a familiar in the end, which is like I can yeah, Ben would. She wouldn't give up Archer that easily. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so do you think you have a better understanding of Rin and Archer's relationship or what they are as characters? Hopefully.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
Oh,
didn't
good.
know half this stuff before. Didn't know that he was himself in the future. Didn't know that. Uh, didn't know that Rin was as helpful as she is.
Oh yeah, Rin is very helpful. She's an awesome character. And in terms of being the main female love interest, I think she's pretty up there. Though personally, I am more for Saber and Shiro being long lost destined lovers. Rin is pretty much almost neck and neck with Saber for me, and that Shiro would be happy with either Saber or Rin. Even though I say that in my fan fiction story I've already written that Sakura hooked up with Shiro. It's a better characterization of Sakura, and if they have a son, oh yeah, there's that.
Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, honestly, I this is before I knew the characterization of what happened with Heaven's Feel, and now that I know, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not gonna change a thing about Sakura. I think my version of Sakura is better than the fuck what went down with that shit, more or less. Or at least making her a little bit more stable and less bratty, I'd say. But now that I think about it, they are adults, so not teenagers. So there's that.
Mhm.
And I gotta remember, these are like 16-year-olds thrusted into something, were thrust into something by their intentions or not.
Yeah.
Who knows? I could talk about Sakura, because it's really nothing. I mean, there's really nothing to talk about with her. I mean, there is, but I just don't want to.
Eh.
So I hope you enjoyed that kind of recap and whatever version, because I'm sorry it's not less more info. I was just recapping what I watched on Unlimited Blade Works and other things I've been on the wiki in the past. It's fun to read and go check it out if you want a more accurate, better version of what I just said. This is more for Ben and trying to him understand these characters because how he confused Archer with Lancer is beyond me, really.
I didn't know what either of them looked like.
Wow. Okay. Oh, there was one more fun fact. In one of the games that take place in a different universe, Rin does become Lancer's master, and it's actually pretty good. It's a good relationship. Yeah. So no matter what, she's either gonna have Archer, EMIYA as her servant, or in a different random universe, you'll have Lancer as her servant, which is good too.
All right.
So it's pretty good that Rin's always a constant in the space-time continuum of any Fate Stay Night series.
Yep.
Or I should say Fate series, I should say. She's good help. She's good help, I should say.
Yeah.
And Archer, well, he's relatively still the same.
Good help carries the entire operation on her back.
Yes, yes. And Archer, he's good for good things too. Actually, I could play Fate Extelia again on my stream once more to give you a good view of the characters again.
Oh, I have some stuff you can look at after this that might be good for streaming.
Thank you, thank you. All right. I think okay. I think after an hour, Yeah, hour 24 minutes. I think we're done. A couple of other things. There are character songs that give you a better detail on their personalities or whatever. I suggest you check them out. Even though they're more from the older series, Fate Stay Night series from 2006, good songs. Archer has a good song called Wise. Rin has a song about waking up in the morning, drinking Earl Grey tea, and having a good day. I'll probably try to post that on a for Ben to listen to maybe randomly. I don't know.
Link in the description.
Should I? No. This is for you personally.
Too much work.
Too much work. I mean, I could, but I don't know. I mean, you might get copyright or something. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this portion of who are the fate characters of Archer and Win. And next time we're gonna go for the main man himself, who Lancer, and all his awesomeness, and why is he the butt of all jokes?
Right? Because he's too cool.
He is too cool and metal. I hope you have a good one, and I will see you later. Take care.
Dude.